installing an aftermarket wheel for your car, there are a few simple tools that are going to make your life a lot easier for removing the old steering wheel and installing your new steering wheel. You know, whether you're going to be going with a quick release steering wheel or just a regular aftermarket steering wheel, replacing your hub and replacing that steering wheel and getting the old one off can be made, much easier with the proper tools. So we're going to go through that process today for an aftermarket steering wheel install. The first thing here is to have a steering wheel puller tool set. So essentially what this is just a standard puller, but specific to a steering wheel. So if you know how a puller works, it has a center threaded rod, and then it has two outside. For regular gear pulleys or gear pullers, you have two jaw arms that grab the pulley, and you can pull that off. For a steering wheel puller, you actually have bolts, and these bolts will thread into the hub or the steering wheel and pull it off. And so this kit comes with different size and thread styles to suit, American or Japanese cars. You have the whole kit here, so you don't have to worry about that. If you didn't want to purchase this, if you have a piece of metal that you can drill some holes into, you have the right threaded bolts, you can go ahead and make your own gear puller, or sorry, steering wheel puller. But these kits are under $20, so they're relatively inexpensive. So that's number one. For an aftermarket wheel hub, you're going to need some Allen keys, and I'll show you why in just a second. So if you have a set of Allen keys, that's great. Impact gun is really going to make your life a lot easier. This thing, pulling off the center main bolt on your steering wheel is fairly difficult, and this just makes it really easy when installing that bolt and actually removing it. You don't have a lot of space inside the engine cabin, and you don't want things to be turning as you're trying to torque it down. So the impact gun really makes that a lot easier. These things are also relatively inexpensive, and you're going to need it for a lot of other jobs. So just go ahead and get yourself one. Make your life a lot easier. So that's all we really need. If you have all the stuff, we're ready to go. Remove the old steering wheel and reinstall the new aftermarket one. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now. So this is the aftermarket steering wheel that I have installed on my Toyota MR2. Now, I've already installed everything. I do apologize, I don't have the footage from me removing the old steering wheel. But what I'm going to be doing today is readjusting the aftermarket steering wheel, and this sort of mimics the procedure you would do on removing the original steering wheel and putting on the new one. So hopefully you can gain some understanding through me doing this procedure. But the reason why I'm adjusting this is, as you can see, the steering wheel does have a natural center. It's actually marked here, and so this center should be right in the center of your body when the wheels are straight. And because I changed the toe settings on my front wheels, when the car is going straight, this is actually off center. So I need to pull everything apart, turn it a little bit, and then put it back on. So this is going to mimic the procedure that I would do when first installing this wheel, and so you can get an idea of how to do that. Now, first things first, this is a quick release steering wheel. So all you have to do, it's a little bit hard to do with one hand, but all you have to do is pull the hub upwards. So you can see here, it compresses. There we go. And there's some ball bearings in there which line up with the hub, and this allows for a quick release and quick reinstall. And the reason why I chose this, you don't have to go with a quick release, but the reason why I chose this is because it's a really great anti-theft deterrent. You can take the steering wheel with you when you leave the car, and it also makes working on the interior of the car much easier, being able to remove that steering wheel, which is quite large, in 1 second. And now I can work on the interior of the car without having that steering wheel in my way. So when you're installing an aftermarket steering wheel, there's a few things you're going to need. The first one is a hub adapter, and so you can see that as a slim black piece that says NRG, and this is the hub adapter from the steering wheel shaft column to the steering wheel, the new steering wheel. So I need that piece. The second piece here I have is the quick release adapter. So that's on top of the shaft adapter. So there's two pieces here installed on top of each other. And then obviously the other side of the quick release installed to the aftermarket steering wheel. So in total there's three pieces. You can get away with having two. You don't need to have this quick release if you don't want. But again, for an extra 50 bucks, it really makes working on the interior of the car quite easy. One thing to note here also, if you want to keep your horn, you will have to wire up this quick release such that you can still use your horn. You know, because the steering wheel is removable, there's a little bit of wiring you have to do, and I'll show you that here in 1 second. But what we need to do first is remove the quick release adapter by just removing all these Allen keys. That's why we have the Allen keys set. We're going to go ahead and remove these and take that quick release adapter off and get at the shaft adapter here underneath. So let's go ahead and do that now and show you what it looks like afterward. So we've removed the bolts holding on the quick release adapter, and as you can see, this is the wiring I was talking about. You need to be able to just wire these two wires here, and they fit inside the hub when you put it back on, and this allows you to keep your horn function. You don't have to wire this, but it's good to have a horn just for safety issues. So this is the shaft adapter, which allows you to install an aftermarket steering wheel onto your steering wheel column. And as you can see, these bolts, they would line up with the aftermarket steering wheel if I didn't have that quick release adapter, but I do, so that's an extra piece that goes in between. So what we need to do here is remove the center bolt, and using the impact wrench is really going to make our lives a lot easier for this task. We don't want this thing to be turning, because the wheels can still turn when we're trying to, you know, tighten this down or remove it. So a few seconds with the impact wrench and this thing's good to go. And then we're going to have to use the steering wheel puller to get this off. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I'm ready now to use my impact wrench to remove the center bolt. And so I have my impact wrench. I have a set of impact sockets. This is a 17mm bolt, and so I'm going to be removing that. I just want to show you how easy it is with this tool. It's a little bit loud though. So you saw there, about 1 second, it's off, and I can now use my puller to remove the hub adapter. So there is one thing to note. I actually did lie in my introduction. When removing a aftermarket steering wheel that has these aftermarket hub adapters, you don't actually need a steering wheel puller, which is the one I showed in the intro to this video. You need that in the case when you're actually removing your stock steering wheel. So I'll show you that at the end of this video with my old steering wheel. You know, I'll bring it up and I'll show you how the steering wheel puller would be used to get it off the steering wheel column. But for these aftermarket hub adapters, we're actually going to need a 3-jaw puller. And so this is the gear puller style that I talked about previously that have the arms. And so this is going to fit around the hub. The teeth are going to grab it, and I'm going to be pushing on the center steering column here and pulling that off. And as you can see, there's actually splined. This is a splined adapter, and this is how the steering column is basically connected to the steering wheel through these splines. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm pulling this off and I'm shifting it over one tooth and then reinstalling it so that my steering wheel is centered. And again, this is because I was playing with my suspension geometry, so my wheels and my steering wheel were a little bit off. So I'll be doing that now and showing you, how easy it is with a 3-jaw puller. Again, this thing I use it for multiple applications with suspension, steering wheels, other things. So if you can go out and get yourself a 3-jaw puller, do yourself the favor. You're going to need one, and it's a really, really useful tool. So let's go ahead and do that now. So as you can see, we have the 3-jaw puller firmly installed around the hub. You want to make sure that each of the arms is gripping nice and tight. And now we're going to be tightening up this center bolt. This is pushing on the steering column in the center, and we're going to be pulling off this adapter. So just go nice and slow, and this will pop off nice and easy. I'm going to need So as you can see now, the hub does come off nice and easy, and so it fits here onto the splines. And so what we're going to be doing is removing this and turning it slightly and then reinstalling it so that we can get the wheel nice and straight. So basically the order of reinstallation is just the opposite of how I removed it. Getting that center bolt on, I will be using the torque wrench just to tighten it down a little bit, just so I don't have to play around too much with the wheels turning. The torque wrench will do it in like 2 seconds, and then just reinstalling this quick release adapter and then putting the wheel back on, and you're done. So the final, I'll do that. Go ahead and do that now, and then right after this I will show you the original steering wheel and then how to use the steering wheel puller to get that original steering wheel off. But this is the end of the aftermarket installation. So let's go ahead and do that now. So this is the original steering wheel that came with the car, and as you can see, it's pretty beat up. It's quite large and heavy, and it's non-removable. So I wanted to replace this steering wheel. And so as promised, just going through some of the steps that you need to do to remove this with the steering wheel puller tool. So the first step is to remove the horn button. This is the center of the wheel. And so there's a couple screws that hold this on. Your factory service manual will show you how to remove this. It's quite easy. And then once we have this removed, as you can see, this doesn't have an adapter. It sits right onto the splined steering column. And so what we need to do is pull this whole thing off, just like how we pulled off the NRG adapter with the 3-jaw puller. We need to use the specialty steering wheel puller to remove this assembly and steering wheel. So what we need to do, if we can imagine that this is installed in the car, is get our steering wheel puller, install the center bolt, and then find the appropriate machine screw that fits into the threads of our steering wheel. So as we can see, we have a few holes to choose from that are threaded. So we have one here and one here. These two are non-threaded. So I think they're these ones. Let's just take a look and find out. Nope, not those ones. How about you? Too small. How about you? Too much. It's fairly certain it was these ones. Sorry, yeah, it is these ones. So it's the gold ones. We don't have to thread it in very far. And so what we do here is install these on the puller, and now we thread these two bolts into the holes. And this is why we have, this tool has these channels, so that we can, appropriately, because each steering wheel is going to be different. So we need to locate those holes and install these bolts. There's one, and there's the other one. So these two bolts are installed, and now the center machine screw, just like as on the 3-jaw puller for the aftermarket adapter, is going to push on the center steering column, and this is going to pull this whole steering wheel off the column. So this is a similar type of tool as the 3-jaw puller, except instead of using actual, arms, it uses bolts that thread into holes on the steering wheel itself. So this is why we need this sort of specialty puller tool for this type of steering wheel. Now, you can imagine we could probably use the 3-drop puller and get it around this sort of assembly and pull it off that way. But the more elegant option is to get one of these proper steering wheel puller tools. It works really great, takes a couple minutes, and you can use this in the future for a different car, a different application, because it comes with all of the different machine screws that you might need. So, this is how you remove the original steering wheel, and then I showed you, how to the steps needed to install or remove or adjust an aftermarket steering wheel and hub assembly. So hopefully this has been enough information. You can go ahead and do it yourself. Total time doing this the first time is maybe 2 hours. Once you get a hang of it, you can do it in under 20 minutes, again with the proper tools. So as always, good luck and have fun.